to another 31 Days of Horror 2019 video. We are going to check out a movie called ELI. I do not know anything about it other than the fact that it's called ELI. Leslie said, do you know anything about ELI? And I said, no. And she's like, I want to watch ELI. And I was like, okay, let's watch ELI. The only thing I know about Eli is the book of Eli, and Eli was pretty cool. Yeah. So what is this? With his desperate parents in tow, an 11-year-old boy with a debilitating illness checks into an isolated clinic to undergo experimental therapy.
Yeah, and it looks creepy from the screen on Netflix. And the girls and I watched the trailer yesterday, and we were all sitting on the couch, and all three of us at the same time, when something happened in the trailer, like all three of us reacted. We were all like, and we made so much noise that he got upset. So,
then I'm going with, it's
you're
gonna
not
suck.
Like it.
You spooked out, buddy? No. I don't know. There's been some talk online about this film, so
I've heard both things. But some people really
if
liked
it spooks them out, I'm gonna go with. Well, here's the thing: how much of the film is gonna be spooky and how much isn't? That'll be the telltale sign. If it's only like the first 10 minutes of the film, then the film's gonna suck. If they manage to keep it going, then it's gonna be good, right, buddy? Yeah. So let's hope for the latter. I'm gonna say it is the latter. Netflix has been doing pretty good, so this is a Netflix film.
Oh, and also why I wanted to watch it was because it said that somebody, I forget who it was, what they did on this film, but they also worked on that The Haunting of Hill House show, which was good,
yeah,
and
I like that.
something else which I had also seen and liked. So that's why I was like, we have to watch this.
Okay. So
I'm hopeful.
this is a hopeful thing, but we're gonna check it out and tell you what we really think right after this. And by this, I mean we're gonna watch the movie. While he eats your shirt. Now that's scary.
Tasty.
And we're back. Yes. So apparently, it's about a bubble boy who sees ghosts. He sees dead people. And he goes to some crazy old house to get treatment for some weird disease he apparently just randomly got. Yeah. Interesting. The film's standard, it's about an hour 40. It's directed by Kieran Foy. The man, Kieran Foy is back, yes.
You know who that is?
Yeah, Kieran Foy directed Citadel. I think he's British. And then went on to direct Sinister 2 because of Citadel.
Sucked. Oh my god, that sucked.
Yeah, well. He directed it, he didn't write it. But the writers, oddly enough, there's three of them. Two are, I do believe, are a pair. It's David Churchirillo, who she did, what was it, Cheap Thrills? Yeah, Cheap Thrills. And went on to 616 Paranormal Incident. Then he did a portion of ABCs of Death 2, Bad Match. So he started off in the genre, continued on. And then there's Ian Goldberg and Richard Nang, who I believe worked together writing on Fear of the Walking Dead. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Also did a few Terminator Zero Chronicle, but I know them from the Autopsy of Jane Doe, which we watched. And I think that's probably the place most people know them from. Whoa. In terms of actors involved, you have a family, mom, dad, son. The son is played by Charlie Shotwell, who didn't look familiar to me, but if you've seen Captain Fantastic, All the Money in the World or The Glass Castle. He was in those ones. Mum is played by Kelly Riley. Now, you had to have recognized her, right? No?
She looked familiar, but I don't know why.
Okay. If you saw Pride and Prejudice, the new one, or Flight, the Denzel Washington movie, probably know her from that. But I think most people are going to know her from the Sherlock Holmes movies, where she played Mary, or Eden Lake, she played Jenny in that genre film. No? She's been in a whole bunch of stuff. Dad is played by Max Martini. Now, Max he's kind of typecast. He has that, he almost comes across as like a stunt double. Like he's a stunt man.
Yeah,
he's a big guy, which is why you find him in a lot of action movies. 13 Hours, Captain Phillips, Pacific Rim. But where I know him from mostly is The Unit, where he was one of the main characters on that television show. But you may know him from The Purge.
The TV show? Or the...
I think it was the movie. No, the TV show.
Oh, we'd have to finish that.
Yeah. Moving on to people who work in the hospital, we've got Katia Gomez and Deneen Tyler, neither of which really seem familiar to me, but the head nurse is played by Lily Taylor. Lily has done quite a number of genre stuff, so...
Head nurse, isn't she the doctor?
Yeah, head nurse.
Doctor!
Head doctor. Well, she's not a doctor, I can't say what she is.
But she's supposed to be the doctor.
Oh, she's the one in charge.
And yeah, if you didn't recognize her, I did.
Yeah, so essentially, perhaps you saw, something called The Conjuring or The Nun or any of those things where she plays the Carolyn Perron character, or perhaps you saw Leatherface, that movie with the guy with the chainsaw.
The Haunting, what the hell was that? The Haunting of Hill House or something, but the movie,
Yeah.
That's where I recognize.
Hemlock Grove or Maze Runner, Scorched Trial. She's been in so many things. You know her as soon as you see her. If you don't recognize the name, you should though. She does deserve the recognition. And then there's a small little bit played by Sadie Sink.
She's from Stranger Things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So she's got a little weird throw-in role that kind of doesn't need to be there, but whatever, it's there anyways. But yeah, so what did you think?
This is what happens when I go in hoping. It wasn't terribly, yeah. It wasn't terribly horrible, but it wasn't great. It was just okay. There was a couple times that startled me, so that was okay. But I don't like the twists and turns that it took, and it's just like, what the hell? I didn't like that. Like, it was just okay.
I think part of the problem was that she was distracted and she wasn't really watching the movie the way she should have, because I think you would have been scared a lot more than you were. Because even just in passing, you still got startled.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good. I enjoyed the film. It's I think they delivered their jump scares. Like, there's a lot of jump scares, and I think they delivered them a little too quickly to really be really, really good. But they were still pretty effective.
Yeah.
Like, I think they were well pulled off. It's funny because it's clear. Well, I mean, it had a short running time. If the running time had been closer to 2 hours, I think we would have found that a lot of those that whole haunting, the whole haunted seat. I don't know how long. There's a section of the movie where you're dealing with hauntings, right? And I think that section of the film would have been longer, simply because the actual scares would have been really drawn out like that. They would have brought up the tension, but because they were running with an hour and a half, and they had a lot of stuff that they were trying to deal with, that they tended to rush it just a tad. I mean, it wasn't amateurish rush where it's just, but it was one of those things where had they given it another 5-10 seconds, it would have been a lot more effective,
But at least, I mean, there's been so many movies where you watch it and hey, they're trying to make this scary, and I'm just sitting here like, really, I know exactly what you're doing, and I'm not.
Yeah. And a nice thing about this was there was a few things that that aren't not cliche. Like, there was a lot of things that they did them slightly differently. They used different ways of doing things. One of the things you liked was the ghost dragging.
Yes, to me that was excellent, because I always complain in movies where somebody is just,
well, they're usually just yanked by their feet and they're
gone, right? Or slammed up against a wall or something, and you don't see anything, and that drives me nuts. I freaking hate that. Like, I hate that. And this wasn't like that, and so I really liked that. That part was really good.
Yeah, and the one thing I will say that they overplayed a little bit was the whole...
The illness?
Well, no, in terms of the haunting portions, was the use of, like, breath on window, or a lot of use of glass. So
I found
mirrors,
that freaky, though,
glass, steam in the bathroom. It seemed like that was like the number one way they were using to portray
but that's
things.
Freaky. Like, seriously, if I swear to God, if I got out of the shower and there's something on that mirror, like, don't do it. Like, I would be freaked out. That's freaky.
It is, but it's one of those things where it's like, it seemed every single time it was they were using that, right? And normally I would say if that was the case, like, this was the only way and that was how they were going to communicate, and it was the only way they communicated, fine. That's the way they're dealing with the communication with the ghost. But that wasn't the case in this movie. They were using all sorts of different methods of, how the ghost showed up, where you saw the ghost, how, all that kind of stuff. They just happened to use those, I'll call them cliche, very standard ghost tropes whenever you're doing that kind of stuff, a lot. That being said, there was quite a number of, the ghost is there, see the ghost, that kind of stuff going on for a good portion of the film. So, like I said, had it been an extra half an hour, they could have drawn out that suspense, considerably. And it wouldn't just be jumping from one scene where you're getting a scare to another scene where you're getting a scare, and then slight pause, and then back to another scare. And you're like, okay, getting back into it right away. So there was that going for it. Not that they were bad, though. They were well done outside of that. I'd say the acting in general. The kid was a little... I couldn't quite read him. I didn't quite get what he was... Sometimes he's super smart and strong, and other times he's just like clueless and weak. And I'm not talking about because he's sick. I'm talking about like meek weak. And it's just like, I'm not quite getting this thing. It would be one thing if it was a progression through the entire movie, but he kind of jumped around a little bit, so I was like, okay. Again, that he's a younger actor, so obviously he relies a lot on what the director's telling him and how they're doing it, and it falls on the director at that point to literally keep people and make sure that the character is progressing steadily. But
I didn't find him bad.
no, it wasn't bad. It would, like, I'm just saying that he would probably be the weakest link in this film in terms of acting wise. The only other problems I had with this film related to the fact that this kid is apparently a bubble boy.
Oh.
And they're moving him across country in a car, sleeping in motels. Not the best way to do it. But they essentially get to move around. He gets put... So when they show him in the motel room, he's got his own little bubble that he sleeps in. And all his clothes are hermetically sealed and all this kind of stuff. But to leave his hermetically sealed bubble, he has to put on a full suit.
Yeah, like a hazmat.
Hazmat suit, fully sealed. And he walks around with that. Now, if you know anything about these suits, the reason why they're used is because they don't allow air in and out. So they're protective suits that way. But at no point did I see a rebreather respirator attached to his suit. So essentially he was suffocating to death the entire time he was going across the country. And then they get to this special house, which deals with kids who have these autoimmune deficiencies that can't be out in the world. That's their specialty. So it's all hermetically sealed inside, right? Except the house is like an old 1800s mansion.
Not that old.
It's pretty
Early
old.
1900s, I'd say.
It's pretty old. And so we're talking about, wood finishes, leathers, all this kind of stuff. And the one thing I can tell you right now is there is absolutely no way you are hermetically sealing a house of that age. It's impossible. And had they just kept him in her, like a contained room, I would understand that. But no, the front door is literally an airlock. So you go in, you decontaminate, and then once you're on the other side, it's clean. Not gonna happen. I'm just gonna tell you right now, it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna work. That was one of those things where you just had to roll with it and go, okay, they're going for style over substance here because clearly they want they want that gothic haunted house look, but at the same time, they're trying to make this hermetically sealed hospital thing happen. Whatever. Okay, fine. But yeah, other than that, I enjoyed the film. The ending goes...
That's weird.
Definitely in a direction I was not thinking it was going to go.
Yep, so not predictable.
Yeah, I was definitely not expecting it to go there. So that was different. It was interesting.
And stuff that happened was different. Hadn't seen that before.
Yeah, they did some different things in this movie. I'll just say that. It's definitely a combination of different styles and different types of movies. We got hauntings, we got diseases, we got all sorts of stuff going on in this film. What would you rate it?
It's hard because I feel like, because I've seen so many things, that it's not like as scary to me as it might be to somebody who hadn't seen stuff. Like somebody who hadn't really seen stuff, they're gonna watch it and be like, oh, like I could see them being more scared than me because there was a couple of laughs in there, so that was all right. I'm
3?
3. Put your tongue back in.
Yeah, it's See, I think the film is like probably on a 3.5 level, but I'm gonna give it a 3 because I'm knocking it off for the fact that they took some leniency with the disease portion of it and Bubble Boy.
Yeah.
They took some serious leniency here.
Yeah, you can't go into this watching thinking in your head it's going to be all accurate and everything. Like, no, it's not.
It's not even a matter of accurate is like, oh, they are wearing the wrong shirt. That shirt wasn't invented for that time period. No, this just doesn't work. They're just making shit up. So yeah, I'm gonna knock it a half for that. They killed the kid before the movie even started. I'm telling you. So yeah, 3 out of 5 from both of us. So there's there. Would you give it a recommend?
Yeah.
I would too. It's an enjoyable film, and it's one of those things where I think it's getting, well, it's on Netflix. Anybody who has Netflix is looking for a scary movie at this point has probably already seen it. Mm-hmm. If you haven't seen it and you're looking for something, go on to Netflix. Eli will probably come right up as promoted right now. And if you don't have Netflix, well, you probably need to get it.
Film,
yeah,
right, so
it's the only way you're going to see it. I don't think they're going to release it outside of Netflix.
yeah, you never know.
It's possible, but it would have to get some crazy buzz. And I don't know what's getting that kind of buzz.
It is on my Facebook.
But yeah, I don't know. I'd say it's...
It's kind of too bad that it is a Netflix thing and not at the... Well, if it was at the theater, I wouldn't have been able to see it. But I feel like I would have been more into it, and then it's dark and everything, and I feel like it would have been more effective in a theater.
Yeah.
Right? That's how I feel.
Definitely. Lights down,
Yeah.
and you're focused on the movie and not...
Him.
little gremlins. But yeah, is it worth? You know what? Considering what's on Netflix, if you don't have Netflix and you're looking for something scary, the price of 1 month.
Well, you get the free trial anyway.
Well, you get the free trial.
We're not sponsored by Netflix.
No, we're not sponsored by Netflix.
That'd be nice.
This film, and considering other ones and series that are out there, if you're looking for stuff and scary, there is enough Netflix original content right now of a scary October Halloween type of thing. It's worth a month. Drop a few bones, binge until you can't binge no more, and include Eli in there, and I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. I think you'll be happy, and then you can cancel your subscription and wait until they get some more stuff. But yeah. So yeah, Eli gets a positive.
I think that this actually was like my favorite
one so far.
Yeah.
That's not saying much, really. But this would be, in the enjoyable range of general films. Even if we watched everything that was in theater, like if there was 31 horror films released to theaters right now, all Hollywood and stuff like that, I think this would still be able to fight the good fight. So that, and if there was 31 films in theaters right now of a horror nature, we know most of them would suck. You know what I'm talking about. If they're putting that many out in the theaters, it's gonna suck.
Yeah.
But yeah, more 31 Days of Horror to come, of course. So yeah, I think we're falling behind. So yeah, keep watching. Hopefully we'll make it this year. Fingers crossed, we get so close sometimes. Anyways, till next video, take care. Have a good one.